The anime begins in 1830 with a girl screaming as she's being beaten. She pleads for help from a boy named Genta, who watches helplessly, saddened by the scene. The man, revealed to be her father, locks her in a confined space despite her pleas. Afterward, Genta checks on his sister and discovers she has escaped. He rushes to find her and sees her near a walkway. He notices that one of her eyes has turned red. Genta apologizes for not helping earlier, but Suzun reassures him, understanding he would have gotten into trouble. She asks him to leave her alone, but Genta refuses, saying they'll run away together. Suzun is relieved and agrees. They flee into the forest, where the weather is cold. A strange man appears and helps them. Genta, exhausted, passes out and later wakes to find the man carrying him, with Suzun beside him. They arrive at a village, which turns out to be a blacksmith settlement. Suzun feels uneasy, saying the place seems strange. The man takes them home, where his daughter greets them warmly. Genta and Suzun feel a sense of loss, seeing such a welcoming family. The man tells his daughter that the two have no one, so they will become part of their family. His daughter, Shirayuki, is overjoyed and introduces herself. When Genta calls her Shirayuki-chan, she tells him not to say that since they're family now. Genta is surprised by this new life. That night, Genta wakes up and finds the man cleaning a sword. He asks if he's a samurai, but the man replies, "No, I'm a guard who protects important people." Genta is amazed by his sword. The next morning, Shirayuki joins Genta, Suzun, and their new friend for a swim. Afterward, Chitose teases Shirayuki for eating too much dango and tells her to eat more vegetables. Shirayuki replies that she can't resist her mother's dango because she's so good at making it. Chitose goes to call her mom and the others head home. Genta asks Shirayuki about her mother. She says her name is Yokaz and that she likely allowed them to stay in the village. Genta asks if she ever leaves the temple, and Shirayuki says no because her mother is a Kaheim, a sacred priestess, someone with fire-based spiritual power. Her father serves as her protector. She explains that this power must be preserved and not used carelessly, especially around ordinary people. Shirayuki admits she hasn't seen her mother in years and feels sad about it. 3 years pass. Genta begins training with Shirayuki's father in wooden sword fighting, but loses repeatedly. He says, "I haven't made any progress," but Shirayuki's father encourages him, saying his strength is developing. He promises Genta will grow stronger with time, but must stay focused. As he leaves for work, Shirayuki hands him the sword he forgot, and they all say goodbye. Shirayuki checks on Genta and encourages him, calling herself his big sister. Genta laughs, saying he's older, but Shirayuki insists she's the most organized, so she counts as the elder. Just then, Suzun wakes up and asks what's going on. Genta says it's nothing, and Shirayuki announces it's time for breakfast. Both girls reach out to Genta, playfully dragging him along. After Shirayuki's father Mataharu dies, Genta becomes the village's protector. During a temple meeting, the current lady of the temple praises him, saying he's exceptional at slaying demons. Genta humbly replies that he's just doing his duty. The lady asks about the latest demon, and Genta explains that it disguised itself as a human to infiltrate the village. The head of the guard says the demon aimed to eliminate the lady of the temple. He explains that demons can live for thousands of years, but if they eat the liver of the Kaheim, they become immortal. One of the guards says, "We haven't confirmed the existence of this demon, and we can't verify this talk." The head guard responds that it doesn't matter, and explains that the previous lady of the temple, Yaques, was killed by a demon. They only managed to defeat it because Mataharu sacrificed his life. The current lady of the temple believes the demons are after the sword Yara, a sacred blade passed down through generations. The head guard adds that the sword was crafted with immense skill in this town, and is believed to hold magical power, katana, that has remained untouched for a century. Now, the demons seek to obtain that power. The lady agrees and acknowledges his point. Guard Kayamasa tells the head guard there's no need to worry, as the Kaheim has 2 guards to protect her. He also insults Genta, claiming the man has no talent beyond swinging a sword. Genta asks him, "Do you have a problem with me?" The lady of the temple intervenes, saying, "This place deserves respect. Such petty disputes don't belong here." Genta apologizes, and she turns to Kayamasa, asking, "Aren't you a guard too?" He answers, "Of course, I'm here to protect you." The head guard ends the meeting, and everyone leaves except Genta, which angers Kayamasa. The lady of the temple asks Genta if he's alone outside, and he confirms. She tells him to drop the formalities and walks toward him, which surprises him. She reminds him, "I told you before to treat me informally." Genta replies, "But you're the lady of the temple, and I respect you." She insists, "Then I ask you, when we're alone, to call me by my name. You're the only one left who can." Genta calls her Shiryuki, causing her to blush. She admits she's being selfish because she relies on him for everything. Genta tells her it's not a problem, reminding her that the Kaheim is supposed to rely on her guard. Shiryuki thanks him and informs him that Suzun is here, waiting to see him. Genta visits Suzun, who was asleep. He warns her that if anyone finds out she's here, she could be executed due to the temple's rules. Shiryuki explains that Suzun came because Genta hadn't returned home for 3 days while fighting demons. Genta replies that her visit still breaks the rules. He gently wakes Suzun and tells her he misses her, but she must never come to the temple again, it's forbidden. Suzun asks, "Then why can you come here whenever you want?" Genta answers, "Because those are the rules and we must follow them." Suzun agrees quietly. Genta then senses someone coming and tells her to stay silent. She assures him she knows a way out and quickly leaves. The head guard approaches Shiryuki and asks to speak with her about some suggestions. She invites him in but tells Genta to wait outside. Genta protests, not wanting to leave her alone, but Shiryuki insists. As he waits, she tells him that the safety of the city now lies in his hands, and she hopes he'll keep defending it with all his strength. Genta reflects on the past, remembering when Shiryuki's mother passed away. Shiryuki told him she would be appointed the new princess in her mother's place. She expressed her love for the city. Her mother sacrificed everything to protect and said it must remain strong. She added that she hadn't seen Genta since then. Genta promised her, "I'll keep working until I see you again. I'll grow stronger, follow in Mataharu's footsteps, fight the demons, and become the village's guardian." Returning to the present, he leaves the princess's room. Meanwhile, 2 demons talk. One asks how things are progressing. The other, observing Suzun, replies that things seem fine, even if no one believes it, but he saw it with his own eyes. He's certain she looks exactly like the one he remembers. Back at Genta's home, he wakes up and steps out of his room. Suzun also wakes and asks if he's going to the temple. Genta tells her he's free until noon, which makes her happy. She hugs him, and Genta mentions that the bandages covering her eye are coming loose. Suzun adjusts them to hide her red eye. Shiryuki suddenly arrives, surprising Genta. He asks how she got there, and she says she ran away and invites him to spend the day with her. Genta declines, saying it's dangerous since she's a princess. Shiryuki explains she got permission from the chief. Suzun then suggests they all have breakfast together like they used to. The 3 of them sit down and share a meal. Suzuni commented that Genta should have brought better food for Share. Genta warned her to be quiet or he'd hit her. Share laughed and said they all knew he had never hit Suzuni. Genta insisted he was strict when necessary and could be harsh too. But Share doubted that, and Suzuni agreed, saying he wasn't like that at all. Genta joked, "You both want trouble, ha," which made them all burst into laughter. Suzuni challenged him to go ahead and hit her. Genta raised his hand toward her, but couldn't bring himself to do it. He told her he'd let her go this time, which made them laugh again. Genta got ready to go out with Shir, and Suzuni was overjoyed. He asked why she was so happy. She replied it was because he was going out with the princess to have fun, and if he was happy, that made her happy too. As Genta walked with Shir, no one recognized her as the princess. People were surprised to see Genta with such a beautiful girl. They went to Chizu's mother to buy dango. She was surprised and asked Genta who the girl was. Genta replied she was just a friend. Shir asked for 10 servings of dango, but Genta said they'd only get 2 and some tea, which shocked her. Shir then asked if Chizu's mother didn't recognize her. Genta explained that she hadn't seen her in years and likely didn't remember her. Shir said she had expected that. Chizu's mother prepared the food and even added sweets, saying she remembered Genta always loving them as a kid. Surprised, Genta asked, "You still remember that?" She replied, "Of course. You always came here asking for them when you were little." She apologized for calling him that, but Genta assured her it was fine. He tried the sweets and said they were delicious, which made Chizu's mother very happy. Afterward, Genta told Shir he was no longer her big brother, he was now the city's guard. Shir replied, "I know, nothing lasts forever." She added that it was one of her father's favorite sayings. Genta reflected on how his father always taught him important life lessons, and how he still felt guided by him every step of the way. He said he wanted to stay on that path. Sheer said, I hope we become like my mom and dad and protect the city the way they did. They then visited their favorite spot where they used to meet. Sheer thanked Genta for spending the day with her. Genta told her he had a wonderful time, which made her happy. But she also admitted feeling guilty for focusing only on her problems and dragging him into them. Genta asked if she felt satisfied now. She said yes, and then revealed she had brought him there because she wanted to share something important. She told Genta she was going to marry Kayamasa. The village leader had informed her the day before. She explained she needed to bear a successor so she wouldn't repeat her mother's fate. Kayamasa, a guard born in the city, was expected to become the next chief, and their marriage would be good for everyone. Though she leaned toward accepting it, she confessed that, speaking as Sheer, not as a princess, she loved Genta. She told him she had once thought about running away with him to start a new life, but figured he wouldn't agree. Genta confirmed he would have refused. Sheer said it was because he didn't love her. Genta clarified that he had sworn to protect the city and the princess, not Sheer. He had trained hard for that, and if he ran away with her, it would make all his training meaningless and be an insult to himself. Sheer said they were very similar. When everything ends, people can only choose how to live, not who to live with. She chose to remain a princess, and if she abandoned that identity, she wouldn't be able to look him in the eye. If her role was wrong, so were her feelings for him. So she would continue to live as a princess, and asked him to stay loyal and love her until the end. Genta promised he would stay her guard and protect her to the very end. We then shift to Suzune, who was alone and feeling anxious. At the temple, Sheer informed Genta that 2 demons had been spotted in the forest and ordered him to eliminate them. Kayamasa would protect her while he was gone. Genta replied, "All right, I'll take care of them as soon as possible." Sheer wished him good luck. After leaving the temple, Genta was stopped by Kayamasa, who asked if he had heard the news about his marriage to the princess. Genta calmly replied that he had. Kayamasa questioned whether Genta was really not going to do anything, but Genta said that protecting the city and the princess's happiness was what mattered most to him. Kayamasa accused him of pretending not to love her and demanded, "What about your heart? Are you crazy, man?" Genta simply answered, "Of course I am," and walked away, leaving Kayamasa stunned. Meanwhile, Suzune was alone when a demon approached her. The scene shifted to Genta, who was deep in the forest searching for the demons when he was suddenly attacked. The demon, surprised that Genta dodged, asked how he saw through the ambush. Genta responded, "I know there are 2 of you. Where's the other one?" The demon said the other had an important task in the city. Genta struck first, but missed. The demon counterattacked, injuring Genta's face. Genta retaliated and managed to sever the demon's hand, though it struck again with the other, which Genta dodged. Holding its severed hand, the demon remarked that while demons live for centuries, humans surpass themselves by passing their dreams forward. It then asked Genta, "Do you know why you use that sword?" It claimed to have defied nature to gain its power. Genta responded that he would kill anyone who threatened those he loved. Back with Suzune, the other demon approached her, asking if she knew who she was. Suzune said the demon was the demon itself. It agreed but said they were alike. Suzune denied it, claiming she was human and trembling with fear. The demon said sisterly love was what made her feel human and admired how much her brother had fought for her. It asked if she thought her brother was great, and Suzune replied that he meant everything to her. The demon then said it saw a young girl in her heart and warned that someone wanted to harm her brother. It offered to help and claimed demons never lie. It reached out its hand, asking her to come with it. Suzune refused, saying it might endanger her brother. The demon then said, "Will you still say that after seeing this?" and showed her a glimpse of the future, Sherry marrying Kayamasa. The demon claimed to have foresight, allowing it to share brief visions of the future. Suzune called it outside, saying she didn't want to know the truth. She asked if Sherry really did that, and the demon confirmed it. Suzune accused it of lying. The demon offered to show her again, and claimed it was all for her brother. Hesitantly, Suzune reached for the demon's hand. Meanwhile, Genta continued fighting the other demon. He was pushed into the water and attacked from behind. Genta asked, "Why do you want to hurt humans?" The demon replied, "Because of what I am." Genta asked if that meant it naturally wanted to kill humans. The demon explained that it had a specific goal and accepted its nature. It couldn't rebel against what it was. Genta said, "Then I'll show you no mercy." The demon revealed it could absorb power from other demons, growing stronger and changing form. Genta attacked, but the demon cut off his arm and broke his sword. Still, Genta grabbed the broken piece and drove it into the demon's body, killing it. Before dying, the demon said it had fulfilled its goal and revealed the other demon had powers of perception. It warned that after 170 years, the strongest demon would rise to rule over all demon offspring in the city. This was the reason they had come. Genta, shocked, wondered if a demon was already living among them and thought of Suzune. The demon grabbed Genta's head and said, "You wield the sword to protect those you vowed to defend. But if you find they are not worth protecting, who will you kill then?" The scene shifts to Princess Shirayuki, where Kayamasa tries to get close to her, but she pushes him away, saying they need to first confirm whether Genta has defeated the demons. Kayamasa insists it's the right time to marry, warning that if they wait, they might have to wed in front of Genta. He steps back and leaves the decision to her. The princess begins to cry, arguing that she was wrong and must marry Kayamasa now for the city's sake. As she moves toward him, a demon enters, accompanied by Suzun, who witnesses the scene and asks the princess why she's doing this. Meanwhile, Genta regains consciousness and is shocked to find his severed arm still intact. Realizing something's wrong, he rushes toward the city, only to find it in flames. Back at the princess's location, Suzun confronts her. "I thought you loved Genta, but I guess you're ready to settle for any guy, right?" The princess denies it, and Suzun demands an explanation. Genta arrives home, but finds it empty. Grabbing his sword, he heads to the princess's house. There, Suzun continues, "Why did you do this? I worked hard to bring you two together because I wanted Genta to be happy, and this is how you repay me." The princess responds, "I know you did it for Genta, but to remain his little sister, you need to stay innocent in both body and mind." Suzun replies, "I used to believe in you. I was ready to endure everything for your sake." The princess says, "I'm sorry. I am the princess now, responsible for the entire city. That's the only way I can repay Genta's feelings." Suzun asks, "So you're abandoning your love for my brother for strangers?" She removes her blindfold and starts laughing, accusing the princess of making her look like a fool. "Shut your mouth and don't move," she warns. The demon beside Suzun tells her, "Now you've seen it." While Genta was fighting for her life in the forest, the princess embraced another man. "Isn't it painful to suffer without knowing the truth?" Then it adds, "Isn't it infuriating that your brother is getting hurt because of this deceitful princess?" Suzun mutters, "Wouldn't it be better if she were dead?" Suddenly, she transforms into a demon, shrouded in black smoke. "You must die now," she tells the princess. Kayamasa tries to stop her but is struck down by the demon, losing consciousness. The demon urges Suzun to resolve the matter herself. Suzun grabs the sword. At that moment, Genta arrives. Shirayuki rushes to embrace him, but her head is severed in his arms, leaving him in shock as memories of their past flood in. He sees Suzun stab Shirayuki and, in rage, swings his sword at her, though she dodges. "Why are you attacking me?" she asks. "Are you really Suzun?" Genta demands. She confirms she is. "Then why did you kill Shirayuki?" he asks. "I did it for you," she replies. "I wanted you to be happy. You should smile. How is that logical?" Genta asks. "I'll explain. The princess was lying. She was going to marry someone else. I didn't want you to be sad," Suzun says. When Genta tells her to be quiet, she snaps. "Don't tell me you still love her. She's a liar." She explains that now that Shirayuki is gone, Genta won't feel pressured anymore and should go home because she's tired. "You killed Shirayuki, burned the city, betrayed the people who raised us, and now you expect me to believe you're tired," Genta retorts. Suzun shrugs. "Is that a problem? I now understand. The Suzun I once knew is gone." Genta attacks her again, but misses. She's shocked by his attempt to kill her. Then, Genta transforms into a demon, gaining the powers of the one who had previously injured him. Seeing his transformation, Suzun tries to defend herself, saying she did it all for him. Genta cuts her off, telling her to be silent. "So you're abandoning me like everyone else," she says. "I thought you were different. I thought you'd always be there." Then she says she doesn't need him, that he meant everything but didn't value her. "Fine, I'll go live in hell." She lunges at him, moving rapidly, then suddenly stops and says, "You must die." She thrusts her hands into his chest, but can't pull them out. Genta unleashes a powerful blow, sending her flying. She rises again, and Genta says, "That strike wasn't enough." He prepares another attack, but this time it hits the other demon. The clairvoyant demon tells Suzun to go far away. Then Suzun left, and Genta tried to follow her, but he couldn't pull his hands out of the she-demon's body. He called out to Suzun, but she told him she didn't want to talk because she was angry, and that she would tear everything in this world to pieces. She said she would visit them again, and that would be her final visit. The she-demon laughed, saying she had achieved her goal. Genta finally pulled his hands free and told her that they were only achieving their goals by shedding blood. The she-demon replied, "Of course, that's what we want." She claimed to have seen the future where demons couldn't keep up with how fast time changes. Darkness would drown the light made by humans who stole from their homes. In the end, demons would no longer be myths like in the past, and now she could die happy knowing she secured a future for her sisters. Then the sky rained, helping extinguish the fires. Afterward, Genta picked up Shirayuki and lamented that despite all his training, he hadn't thought of protecting her. Angrily, he went home, packed his belongings, and decided to leave. He went to the captain of the guards, who asked where he was going. Genta said he would leave the city to retrain and grow stronger to face the great demon when it attacked. The captain asked if he meant Suzun and if he really thought he could kill her. Genta admitted he once loved Shirayuki and could only hate Suzun now. He said he must end things one way or another, and the darkness inside him urged him to kill her, but he needed a solution. The captain replied, "Now that you've become a demon, I thought killing was all you cared about, but there's still dignity in you." He handed Genta a sword. Genta drew it, and the captain said, "This makes you a Rei. You must follow the rules and traditions." He added Kaji to his name, making him Genta Kaji. Genta said he shouldn't carry the sword, but the captain responded, "No one from the Atsukaman family is left. Leaving this sword to rot in darkness is pointless. It belongs in your hands. I believe the princess would find peace in death if this sword were with you." He then apologized to Genta, knowing about his love for the princess. He admitted that he once told her to marry Kayamasa for the city's sake, not realizing Kayamasa had feelings for her. The captain only wanted his son's happiness, but the tragedy weighed heavily on him. Genta then left, and Shiozi's mother came to him in tears. "Are you really leaving?" she asked, saying she'd always remember him. The scene then shifts to the year 1850 in the city of Soaya. A man named Zenji, deputy to the village chief, met the chief and Genta. Upon seeing Genta, Zenji asked, "Is this the man?" The chief replied, "Of course. Now go with him and tell him everything." The chief left, and Zenji asked Genta if he had been told the full story. Genta replied, "The chief told me he has a daughter and that a demon wants to kidnap her." Zenji said that wasn't all. The chief's daughter, Natsu, was 13 and spoiled. The night before, she had seen a demon outside her window trying to kidnap her and heard it say, "Return my daughter to me." Genta was shocked. Zenji explained that the demon had a daughter who looked like Natsu, which was why it tried to take her. Natsu then arrived and scolded Zenji, threatening to tell her father if he kept slacking off. When she met Genta, she asked, "Are you the one who came to protect me? If so, please leave. You look too young." Zenji tried to calm her, but Natsu said Genta must have come for money and would leave later. She claimed this was just an opportunity for him. Zenji reminded her that her father had chosen Genta, believing in his skills, but Natsu told him to shut up. She said she hated having a samurai without a lord as a personal guard, so they wouldn't pay him, and he should go back where he came from. Then she stormed off. Zenji turned to Genta and said, "What an embarrassing family. They're not social at all." He apologized. Later that night, Zenji entered Natsu's room. She was surprised and asked why he came. Zenji replied, "Since you dismissed the new guard, I'll be protecting you instead, just in case something bad happens." Natsu, annoyed, asked if he thought she was lying. She said even her father didn't believe her, which is why he hired a suspicious samurai. Zenji said, "I think you're wrong about your father. I believe the chief genuinely cares about you. You've always been his top concern." Natsu replied, "But you know I'm not really his daughter." Suddenly, Natsu heard the demon's voice and began to panic, pleading with Zenji for help. Concerned, Zenji asked, "What's wrong?" At that moment, the demon appeared in front of Zenji, moving closer while repeatedly saying, "Return my daughter to me." As the demon reached for Zenji, Genta struck, cutting off its hands. Genta asked for the demon's name, but it kept repeating the same phrase. Genta landed another blow, eliminating the demon completely. He turned to Natsu and asked, "What payment do I deserve for my expertise?" Natsu asked, "Did the demon die?" Genta replied, "When a demon dies, white smoke appears. That's how I know it's dead. And yes, I've seen this before, but I'll return again." The next morning, Genta and Zenji went to Zenji's house. Zenji thanked Genta for saving him and said, "You delayed the demon, but it will return. please stay with us again tonight? Ginto agreed and asked Zenji to tell him more about Natsu, especially because of what the demon had said. Zenji explained, Natsu isn't the chief's biological daughter. She was born to a man and woman from the chief's family, but both died. Still, don't worry, she isn't from a demon lineage. If she were, the chief would never have adopted her. His wife was killed by a demon, and his son fled and never returned. The chief blames demons for everything that destroyed his family. So why would he take in Natsu if she were related to demons? Later that night, Natsu and the chief were having dinner. The chief asked, "Is everything all right with the new guards?" Natsu replied, "Everything's fine. Thank you for caring about me." The chief said, "What kind of father wouldn't care about his daughter?" Natsu then asked, "Why did you choose that guard?" The chief explained, "Lately, there have been demons sighted near Ito. At the same time, there were reports of a man who confronts and kills demons with a single blow." Natsu asked, "Are you talking about that samurai?" The chief confirmed, "Yes, he kills any demon if he's paid. I chose him because I trust him. I thought it was best to make him your personal guard." Natsu asked, "So you believed me about the demon?" The next morning, outside her room, Natsu reflected that scary stories come in many forms, from direct tales to folk legends, but they never truly disappear. She remembered a servant once talking about the chief's son being kidnapped and his wife dying because of demons. He had adopted a girl while waiting for his son's return. This made her uneasy. Back in her room, feeling afraid, Natsu opened the door and saw Zenji. "Why are you here?" she asked. Zenji replied, "I'm waiting for my chance to redeem myself for yesterday." Natsu coldly said, "I don't care about that." Zenji asked, "Is there no place in your heart to forgive me?" Natsu replied, "Maybe, but you'll have to take me somewhere nice first." Zenji smiled and said, "All right, I'll take you somewhere wonderful." Natsu then asked Ginta his name. She told him, "My dad trusts you a lot. I think I'll trust you too." Ginta responded, "You love your father a lot, Natsu." She smiled and said, "Of course. He adopted me and gave me a home. Why wouldn't I love him?" Ginta replied, "A small, happy family," and added, "I really think the chief cares about you." That brought a smile to Natsu's face. When Ginta mentioned the chief's lost daughter, Natsu cut him off, saying she knew nothing about her and got angry. Ginta said, "I think I touched a sensitive chord." Natsu asked, "Is it possible for a demon and a human to have a child together?" Ginta replied, "Of course." Natsu worried, "Then I could belong to that demon who appeared." Ginta reassured her, "That demon is not your father." Natsu asked, "How do you know that?" Ginta said, "I know who that demon is. We have a long history. I'm sure he never had a child like you." Natsu asked, "Is that really true?" Ginta answered, "I'm not lying to you." Ginta then asked Zenji, "Do you know how demons are born?" Zenji said, "Isn't it obvious? Like humans, from their parents. Or am I wrong?" Ginta explained, "There are many ways demons are born. The usual way is through two demons having a child, but some are born when demons force themselves on humans for their own pleasure. Some demons are born from nothing, manifesting from pure emotions, especially dark ones like bitterness, anger, jealousy, sorrow, and obsession. These feelings slowly seep into a person, settle deep within, and eventually congeal into a physical form." Ginta explained that such demons are essentially emotions wrapped in flesh. While he spoke, Natsu grew frightened. Suddenly, the demon appeared again. Ginta approached it and asked, "What is your name?" Then he attacked the demon, striking it multiple times and knocking it to the ground. He turned to Natsu and asked, "Do you want me to kill it?" He explained that her emotions had summoned the demon. It was a result of her desires. The chaos it brought made her father pay more attention to her. Ginta said, "You wanted to be treated like a real daughter, and then this demon appeared, saying the things no one dared to. Isn't that what you truly wished for?" Natsu, pained, said, "Please stop," trying to quiet the voice in her head. Ginta remarked, "This demon will return even after I kill it. It won't disappear for good until you control your emotions." Natsu asked, "But how? I don't know how." Ginta replied that it was simple. She just had to ask him to kill it. Natsu reflected on how she'd ignored things she didn't want to see and feared showing weakness. Deep down, she just wanted to be loved. She imagined her father appreciating her if a demon appeared, calling her a queen. Those ugly emotions had now taken form. The demon was her, and the one who needed to be destroyed was also her. Zenji comforted her, saying, "The only thing that needs to be killed is the demon, not you, my lady. Even if it was created from your emotions, that doesn't matter." He held her hand and told her to trust him. He assured her that both she and the boss cared deeply for each other, but neither knew how to express it. What they needed was honesty honest communication, like a real family. Natsu asked Genta to kill the demon. Genta faced the creature and unleashed a powerful attack that sliced it in half. Zenji, seeing white smoke, asked, "Is it dead this time?" Genta confirmed, "Of course it's dead." Afterward, Natsu fell asleep and Genta waited outside her room. But the demon reappeared, muttering that he had expected this outcome. He said this demon wasn't born solely from Natsu's emotions. Other princes in the country also held the potential to become demons. He recalled Zenji's mention of the boss's wife, who had been killed by a demon. That's why the creature had said, "Return my wife and daughter." Genta realized the demon referred to the child born to the boss's wife, Shizune. He hadn't expected this reunion and told the demon he remembered him clearly. Again, he asked the demon's name, but it only repeated, "Return my daughter to me." Genta responded, "People should live in the present, not be trapped in the past." With that, he struck the demon again, releasing white smoke. Later, Genta visited Zenji's house. Zenji thanked him, and Natsu, though still adjusting, expressed her gratitude. Genta said, "Don't thank me. This wasn't a job, it was paying off a debt." He told her that age doesn't make someone an adult, but time gives people perspective. He recalled how, in his youth, his worldview was narrow. He understood that causing harm was wrong, but he hadn't seen what was hidden beneath people's actions. At the time, he could only run away. Now, he wanted to atone. Natsu admitted she didn't fully understand him. Genta told her to show her father the same kindness he showed her. "That's all it takes," he said. Natsu replied she didn't need him to tell her that. Genta then said his goodbyes and left. Afterward, the boss joined Zenji and Natsu. "Did Genta leave?" he asked. Zenji replied, "Of course he did. But, boss, you should have come to say goodbye." The boss said it wasn't necessary. He had known from the start that Genta would complete the mission. When Zenji asked why he trusted him so much, the boss replied, "Don't ask stupid questions. Any respectable father trusts his son." He then told Zenji to get to work or his salary would be deducted. Zenji immediately agreed, not wanting that to happen. Natsu asked her father, "Is there anything I can help you with?" Surprised, the boss asked, "What's with this change?" Natsu replied, "They asked me to return the kindness you've shown me." The boss smiled and said, "That's a great kindness from you, but don't worry anymore. The best way for children to repay their parents is to live long. That's all I want. I just want you to be happy." After that, he left, and Natsu followed him to help. Genta went to a restaurant where the manager prepared the food and his daughter, Offie, worked with him. He asked Offie to bring the food to Genta, and she did. Afterward, Offie's father approached Genta and told him there was a killer lurking in the streets. He was very anxious about his daughter's safety and hoped the emperor would take action. Genta advised him to be careful about what he said regarding the emperor. Offie's father agreed, saying he didn't want to lose the restaurant, especially since he had acquired it just 10 days prior at a low price from the previous owner. Genta wasn't surprised. Offie's father complimented Genta's refined taste, noting his place resembled a ghost town and that Genta had been coming there for 5 consecutive days. Offie told her father he would lose their only customer, but her father reassured her they were just talking. He then asked Genta his opinion on the food. Genta replied it wasn't bad, just small in quantity. Offie's father praised his honesty, stating the best chef in the city made it. Genta inquired why they started working. Offie's father said everyone had their reasons, remarking that the past hadn't been kind to Genta, who confirmed this. Offie's father believed Genta had enough money, but Genta responded he was working to earn it. Offie's father asked about Genta's profession, and Genta replied he was a demon hunter, which made Offie's father laugh. He asked if Genta was heading to Edo now, and Genta confirmed. As Genta left, Offie's father reminded him about the killer, noting rumors that the killer never used a sword, yet all victims were mutilated, and the number of corpses was suspicious. He informed Genta that many people had gone missing recently concerning the discovered bodies, suggesting they might have been attacked or taken away, and everyone believed demons were responsible. Genta asked Offie's father where this killer was, and he replied the killer was in the Edo area. Offie approached Genta and warned him that stealthy killers and demons were very scary, urging him to be cautious in the dangerous streets. Genta replied he was old enough for lectures about going out at night. Offie retorted that his tough demeanor just proved he was still a child. Afterward, Genta moved to the Shirishi Bridge, hoping the killer would appear that day, but realizing wishes don't always come true. As he began to move, he heard a scream and rushed to find a group of dead men. He noted they were men, and he had heard a woman's voice afterward. Suddenly, the killer attacked him, injuring him. The killer tried to strike again, but Genta parried. However, the killer managed to stab Genta in the back and ran away. Genta, intrigued by the killer's power, hoped for more attacks, saying he was ready and harnessing the demon's power within him. The killer launched another attack, but Genta broke his sword and aimed to strike, though it missed. Genta encouraged the killer to try again. The killer told him to wait and revealed himself, saying, "I'm called Musuki." Genta said he would remember the name and that Musuki should prepare for death. Musuki replied he had no intention of fighting Genta, which Genta found amusing, as he had gotten the opposite impression. Musuki explained he had thought Genta was the killer, as rumors spread that whoever did it was a demon, so he had followed a demonic scent until encountering Genta. When Genta called him a killer, Musuki realized Genta wasn't the one. Genta asked why a demon would hunt serial killers. Musuki suggested they talk elsewhere before someone saw them. They moved to Musuki's house, and Musuki offered Genta a drink, assuring him it wasn't poisoned. Genta quipped that even if it were, it wouldn't kill him. Musuki explained that demons, when they mature, choose to appear as humans and live among society, adding that demons don't lie but they disappear. Musuki claimed he lived in the simple house. Genta told him he was a demon with a unique power. Musuki explained his power was invisibility, and that he was a high-ranking demon who had lived for 100 years. Genta commented that he seemed weak, but Musuki retorted that their rank was based on awakened power, not physical strength, and some high-ranking demons could be slow and weak, which he believed he was. Genta asked if Musuki wasn't a serial killer, and Musuki confirmed he wasn't, with Genta affirming he wasn't either, adding that he would believe Musuki. Musuki expressed his appreciation and thanked him. Genta asked why Musuki had attacked him without a word when he thought Genta was the serial killer. Musuki asked if Genta had heard of disappearance cases. Genta acknowledged knowing the number of victims didn't match the missing people, and mentioned hearing a woman scream, but seeing no body. Musuki confirmed this, saying the killer only targeted men and kidnapped women. Genta asked how Musuki could be sure. Musuki revealed that the killer had kidnapped his wife Hatsuo about a month ago. She had been with him despite him being a demon, yet she disappeared without a trace. 10 days later, he found her body by the river. The officer he spoke to mentioned she had been horrifically raped. Hatsuo was beloved, and he knew she didn't deserve such a death. He told Genta he lived as a human not for society, but for his wife, harboring great hatred for the monster who did this and took her life. He wanted revenge, which was why he asked Genta to stay away. Genta replied he couldn't because killing demons was his job. Musuki then suggested they collaborate, gathering information independently, but asked Genta to let him be the one to end the killer. Genta asked if Musuki sought revenge, and Musuki confirmed without a doubt. Genta said that regardless of whether the killer was demon or human, they needed to bear the burden of taking a life, and he asked if Musuki was ready for that. Musuki replied that demons don't lie, not even to themselves. Genta said, "Okay, let's work together." Afterward, Genta and Musuki began gathering information from the villagers. Later, they met again, and Musuki remarked it had been another exhausting and fruitless day, noting they couldn't rest and had to keep working, to which Genta agreed. Next, they went to Musuki's house and started drinking. Genta asked why Musuki was chasing his sister. Musuki explained it was for money, as many people hated demons and wanted them destroyed. He pledged to take a lot of money from these people in exchange for killing demons, asking if Genta had a problem with that. Musuki noted that Genta didn't seem like someone who killed without reason, and besides, couldn't complain while enjoying drinks bought with that money. Genta chuckled, mentioning another reason was to gain strength, stating his life mission was to stop a particular demon. Musuki noted it was to stop, not kill. Genta explained he had been human, but witnessing a demon kill the woman he loved turned him into someone like that demon. So killing demons that threatened humans felt natural. Musuki pointed out that by doing so, he was also allowing that demon to live. Genta recalled Suzun becoming a demon and told Musuki he hadn't decided what to do when he faced her again, mentioning needing much strength and calling himself a coward. Musuki asked what Genta would do after avenging his wife. Musuki replied he would do nothing. The only reason he lived as a human was his dislike of violence and not wanting to be hunted by humans or fight his kind. He wanted a peaceful life and wished his wife were with him. When he achieved peace, he would live alone and tend to her grave. Genta reminded Musuki that he had said Musuki wasn't the type to do something without good reason, but Musuki replied that Genta shouldn't think of him that way, as he was consumed by blind hatred for the damned monster. They moved to Alfie's restaurant, and Genta went there to eat. He asked Alfie, "Did you find the killer?" She replied, You never mentioned you were looking for him. Offie said, but you told me your job is to kill demons, so it's reasonable to assume that tracking down rumors like the killer is part of what you do, right? Genta replied, things haven't been going well. Offie's dad said, this is tough on you, my friend, isn't it? Making a living truly is a big pain. Genta said to Offie, there must be lines of people because of a great waitress like you, and I think everyone in Eto is busy. Offie's dad asked him, do you think Offie has charm? He said, about 8 out of 10. Offie's dad said, that's what I wanted to hear, and told him he had great taste. Offie asked her dad, what's this big story? He said, it's good that you haven't had any serious relationships in your life. Offie replied, that's clear and true, but you shouldn't put Genta in an awkward position. Her dad said, I just wanted to help you. Offie assured him, don't worry, I plan to stop living with you someday, but until that time comes, I want to act like your devoted daughter. Her dad said, okay. And Offie apologized to Genta, who told her, no need to apologize, and mentioned that her dad is a really good man. She replied, of course, he's a source of pride for me. Genta asked, wasn't your dad like that? She said, sorry, I shouldn't have asked. Genta told her, I had a younger sister named Suzun, and my dad treated her very badly, hitting her and saying she didn't belong to our family. So I took Suzun, and we ran away from home a long time ago. Offie asked him, do you hate your dad? He replied, no, I understand why he did that, except things didn't go as he wished. They then moved to the bridge where Musuki and Genta were. Musuki asked Genta, did you find out anything? Genta replied, no. Musuki said, another pointless search. After that, Genta started to move, and Musuki followed, saying, there haven't been any kidnappings or attacks lately, so we haven't been able to gather any information. Then, Musuki asked Genta to stop and said, look over there. Genta said, that's Offie. Musuki asked him, do you know her? Genta replied, she's the daughter of the restaurant owner I go to. Musuki said, then it's not good for her to be out alone. Genta told Musuki, I'm going to her, and approached her. Offie said to Genta, the moon is beautiful tonight, and asked him, are you alone? He said, no, I'm with a friend. He looked behind him, but didn't see Musuki, who had disappeared. Musuki told him I didn't show myself to her, and advised him not to hesitate to take her home, since they didn't want her to become the killer's victim. Offie asked Genta, is something going on? He replied, no, and asked her why she was there. She said, I was enjoying the flowers, explaining their beauty, and that they bloom in winter and are one of the best types. Genta said to her, they're indeed nice. I've never seen anything like them before. She replied, they're rare, that's why I hold on to them and admire them, and they look amazing in spring when they bloom. Genta asked Offie if she could go home so her dad wouldn't worry. She replied, okay, and thank